Good day. My name is Anthony Graham. I'll actually be talking today about the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of 1977 for my cost accounting class at Southern Utah University. Um, the beginning of the FCPA, it was enacted right after the time when the Securities Exchange Commission was investigating American multinational companies who were bribing foreign government officials. As a matter of fact, the SEC discovered more than 100 of the Fortune 500 companies had actually paid over $300 million in questionable foreign payments to government officials. This was during the time of the Watergate scandal, and it was really a major primer for the law being put into place and put down the books. Matter of fact, on January 18, 1977, the bill was introduced by Senator William Paxmore to the Senate, and then on December 12, 1977, President Jimmy Carter actually signed it into law. There's three main points of the FCPA. One, it requires the keeping of accurate books, records, and accounts by American companies. It requires the registered users with the SEC to maintain internal control systems. And the third was prohibiting bribery by American corporations of foreign officials. There was some amendments to the FCPA in 1988 and 1998 that broadened the definition of corrupt payments, eliminated the reason to know requirement, and substantially increased the monetary penalties for violations, though it didn't do any changes to the time served in jail. Enforcement of the FCPA is interesting. It's actually enforced by two government agencies. One government agency, the Criminal Division of Justice Department, actually enforced the anti-bribery part of the act, and the Securities and Exchange Commission enforces the accounting part of the act. So two different agencies enforcing one act. There's a lot of conflict regarding this act because there's a belief that there was a major cost to American national companies. The reason is that the restrictions on these American multinational companies put them really at a disadvantage with other foreign companies who didn't have the same restrictions that they did. And so they lost a substantial amount of market share due to this law. Matter of fact, in 1979, 71% of the executives felt that the law would result in significant losses to multinational companies, and frankly it had. Interesting, there was some perceived benefits to the companies because by 1981, the General Accounting Office did a survey of 250 of the Fortune 1000 companies, and 60% of those executives felt that the act had actually influenced them to make changes to their code of conduct. So that was a good perception of benefit. And that by 1987, researchers found that the business executives that were surveyed, over half had disagreed with bribery being acceptable, because prior to that, it seemed pretty acceptable to do business internationally. America changing foreign policy. Now, this is interesting. Many countries had begun to deny companies the ability to deduct the cost of bribery from their taxes, and a lot has to do with that is that Washington, D.C.'s political power has been pushing these other countries to implement some of the same types of laws as the FCPA, or at least just enforce them, because enforcement is a big issue with some of these countries. We look at corruption as a part of the problem. Transparent International ranks 90 countries based upon governmental corruption. In 2002, the least corrupt country in the world was Finland, and the most corrupt country was Nigeria. Interestingly enough, the United States sat at number 14, just below Australia and just above Austria. One of the important things we look at with this act is, are we really progressing, or are we actually regressing with this act when it was put in place? I mean, the law really was never appreciated by American multinational companies that were competing against other foreign companies, and we've lost some market share internationally because of this law. But the law seems to have protected investors, American investors, international investors, who were investing into American companies because of the in-depth audit and compliance requirements now that American multinational companies had to obey by because of the law. So it's up to debate if whether it's still a law that should be in place. There's a lot of information that says that corruption and bribery is not good for an economy. But again, these businesses are losing money. It's difficult to argue with these stockholders and employees. Well, you decide for yourself. Do your own research. I'm Anthony Graham. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and have a great day.